Tax season is around the corner, and those of you who haven't filed your returns, I beseech you to do so. But even more important, mi naona ni kama hii mwaka ndio hata ina deserve maandamano ya finance bill. Because ama jamaa ni kama wamekuja kutumalisa bana. Today I'll just play for you a series of videos. But fair warning though, kama we ni mtu wa high blood pressure, do not watch this video. Just go to the What in the World segment, which will be coming up after this. Now having said that, let's get after it. Top of the list is a gentleman called Dero Reacts. Just listen into this critical breakdown.
Here's everything you need to know about the Finance Bill 2025. Now, VAT inapanda from 16% to 18%. Na siyo peke, zero rated products kama maziwa, dibre, unga, pia hizo zinaenda kutaksiwa. For example, milk inaenda kupanda from 65 shillings to a whooping 75 shillings. Malandlord pia nyinyi hamjaachwa nyuma. Kama uko na shake, utakuwa unalipa tax, yani tithe, yani 10%. Nilidhani shamba huko kwa generational wealth. Kumbe hizi vitu tunakonga tumerent. Kawe ni mkulima, unalipa 5% ya all mazao yako. Team 9 to 5, mlikuwa mnadhani ya nyinyi mko kwa mida. PE inaenda kupanda from 35% to 37.7%. Usibonde bado. The least earning Kenyans wenye wanafaa kuwa taxed at 10%, sasa inakuwa proposed wakuwe taxed at 25%. Na bado hujalipa SHA, SHIF, NHIF, sijui nini. Where does this all end? Sasa hakuna kuzaa in peace. Kama unataka kuzaa ama kuzalisha, jipange vilivyo. Unadhani nimemaliza? Ndo naingia exchange Arusha. Now, there's another law allowing KRA to access your personal data information. Yani, wanataka kujua mali penye uko, unarorolea wapi na unaongelea wapi. Hiyo ni nini? Hii video yenye una watch, sume buy bundles. Imagine paying 15% more ndo uone hii video. Bado kwa hiyo bill, kuna clause inaitwa green levy na entail taxes on plastic and sugar. Sasa sahi mama utaimba chocolate. Labda mkoroge hapo hivyo drinking chocolate. Raw safi. Juu taxes inaenda kwa skari na plastic. Unachiki maziwa simerapiwa kwa nini? Kwa plastic. Last but not least, sijasahau kuna mazingira tax. Yani, long story short, finance bill ya last year ilikuwa trailer. Ya this year ndio movie. Ni kama drama, ni kama video. Na mtu wangu, usipo reject, utakuwa unatoboka. Yani holes everywhere. Reject the finance bill. I hope hii video imekuwa informative.
Haya, ukifikiria imeisha hapo, bado. We still have SHA, housing levy and NITA levy, which have all gone up. Here's a tip.
Hello, Bwana President. You told us that we don't celebrate about the good news. The good news yenye umetuletea leo ni paye imepandishwa from 35% to 38%. Housing levy imepandishwa from 1.5 to 2.5% yenye itakuwa inakatwa kwa salaries. SHA imetolewa from 2.75 to 3%. Is that one not expensive? NITA levy from 50 to 100. Sasa unatuambia hizo ndio good news. Huh? What kind of good news?
You know, at the end of the day, Ruto thinks he's so smart because he's raising taxes. But if he only knew high taxes will keep us forever poor. In fact, the only true example of perpetual motion from where I sit is the poverty in Kenya and Africa at large. We intentionally lock out big multinational corporations by trying to tax like the West when we are not the West. We don't have a civilization that can bear that burden. Nor do we have companies that can support that lifestyle. We don't have Apple products being produced in Kenya. We don't have Microsoft. We don't have our own Silicon Valley, but we want to tax like the countries that do. It's all bonkers. I want you to just listen to Senator Vinix of USA exposing why countries like Tanzania and Kenya will never improve economically under the leadership of people like William Ruto. Here's a tip.
Nice idea, but it won't help. It'll just formalize the reality that poor countries can never repay their loans.
Senator, are you saying that you're opposed to debt relief for impoverished countries?
No, we should forgive the debts, but that's not going to help those countries very much.
Okay. What will?
Tax cuts. Some African tax rates are the highest in the world. In Tanzania, the 30% rate kicks in at $475 of income. Plus, they have a 20% value-added tax. It gets added to everything you buy. Those high tax rates make it impossible to build capital in those countries. So nothing gets built, not factories, not roads, not anything. Poor African countries have the lowest wage workers in the world. And yet a company like Nike, for instance, can't put a factory in one of those countries because of the oppressive tax rates. Taxes have killed any possibility of economic development. They've killed any hope of these countries ever helping themselves. And that leaves them completely at the mercy of charity and loans. Here's the worst part. You know why those countries have such high tax rates? Because of us. To show us that they can raise enough money to pay back their loans. But taxes can't raise any money if they kill the economies. So it turns out that the tragic, unintended consequence of our good intentions toward Africa, our kindness, is that we have encouraged those countries to lock themselves into a gruesome economic depression. If we don't urge those countries to cut their tax rates, they will never grow their economies. People will live lifetimes of unemployment. Disease will be rampant. Poverty will be permanent. And children will be hungry. And our charity will never be enough. Never.
And hapa Kenya tuko na wenda wazimu wanasema ati France is taxing at 40%, us we're only at 22%, so we must catch up. Boss, you're not France. You're a poor leader from a third world country. Act like it na Mungu atakubariki. But pretend to be rich and maandamano will be your portion. That is the sad reality that some of our leaders cannot perceive. Unaweza fikiria hata these are two-dimensional beings who cannot perceive what some of us are saying. But we're in the same realm. How is our perspective so different? How can one person see that for the country to improve, we need to lower taxes? I.e., if something ever happened and I was sitting on that seat, personally, I would remove all taxes on the port. Whatever is coming in or going out is free. That will mean the government will lose money, which is not a big deal, you can always downsize, but the people will never lack money and jobs because companies will flood the Kenyan market. Being the only country that has no taxes at the port, how many companies do you think will rush here? We have cheap labor just like China, the way Senator Vinnick said. Difference is no multinational corporation wants to rush into Kenya to take advantage of that cheap labor because yes, the labor is cheap, but the taxation is astronomical. So you might as well forgo that cheap labor and go to China, where the labor is cheap, the tax is friendly, win-win for the MNCs. Leaders don't see that in this country. Here they believe in significant economic tax. Paka Bolt walianza kuthreaten watatoka pamoja na farasi. They want to bring in SHA, NITA, nini. It is bonkers. You have to provide value to the world. Let people see, oh, we can take advantage of Kenya. There's a tax loophole in this country and it's the only country in Africa doing this. Let's rush there. In turn, we all have jobs. Utakuwa unafutwa Monday, Friday uko na kibarua ingine. Ama hata kule huko, if the pay is not good, you can resign and go to another company. We can even begin to have 6 to 8 hour shifts. Mtu anatoka kampuni moja na usiku wako ingine, jioni yako ingine, like people do in the West. So it all boils down to poor leadership. We will tax ourselves into poverty. It will never change. This country will never change provided people like Ruto are the president. Hata akitolewa hii Ruto must go na tuletewe mwingine ambaye anafikiria tax ndo the way forward. Sarap, hakuna kitu ingine tutakuwa tunaongea. But at the end of the day, guys, that's just my opinion. Do let me know your own comments in the comment section below. Do you think these taxes are progressive or are they hurting this nation for generations to come? Just drop me your comments. I'll do my best to read them and to give you a response. And in the event you're here for the first time, please go on and hit the subscribe button. And if you're watching for a different platform, just head on over to YouTube, search for David Wafula. Hit the subscribe button. You're going to be getting a ton of content of this nature. If politics is something you're passionate about, this is definitely the one channel that you really need to subscribe to. All right, guys, adios. Thank you for choosing David Wafula as your primary news platform. We put countless hours in research, recording, and editing. By showing up each and every day to watch our videos, you encourage us to generate more videos for the viewers. We are on a mission to inform, educate, and build a better tomorrow. To our thousands of followers in a world full of presidents, kings and queens, you are the real gem. Adios.